Hi there and welcome along to another workout for you to row along to. Now I hope you've got some time free because overall today's workout is going to be the longest one of the series because what we're going to do is 12 times 3-minute intervals but with 2 minutes rest in between. So when you add all of that up, if I've done my maths right, that should be 58 minutes worth of time spent in the main workout, plus a 4-minute warm-up, all right? So those 3 minutes, you're gonna do them at that intensity where you're working hard enough that you kind of don't wanna be working that hard, but you can. So it's not absolute max, but also you're not taking it easy. You must be kind of feeling discomfort through these 3-minute intervals. I'll talk to you more about the actual intensity through the actual row, but it's going to be around about that 7 out of 10 intensity. It's really kind of like up there, but like I say, not max, right? Makes sense? Good, great. We're going to get into a 4-minute warm-up before we do that, just to make sure our body's all right and moving, but we have to set up our machines first. And on an Aviron, I want you to set your resistance to wherever you would normally set it for a good hard row. If you're on a Concept 2 and you're using the Aviron app, then I want you to set your drag factor to wherever you would normally have it for any normal row, okay? If you don't know where to set your lever to round about 5, because too low isn't a problem, too high is when it comes a bit tricky, and then read up on drag factor. Next up, let's go to our foot stretcher height, foot straps, all that kind of stuff. And what you're looking for is to find a height of your feet that you can come into the front of the machine with your shins in a vertical position comfortably. If you're set too high, it's a bit tough to get there. Set too low, it's a bit easy to get there. You can overcompress, backside escapes from underneath you, and you start to suffer some kind of discomfort, all right? So, with that in mind, the good ballpark is that the strap should cover the balls of your feet, which is often the bottom lace of your shoe. Start there and adjust as necessary, because shoes can all be different. Converse, I've got a lower heel, so actually I'm slightly lower than I would normally be, but I'm not going to change it. Hey, how mad am I? So we're going to get into this 4-minute warm-up. Going to do it 20 strokes a minute at a nice light intensity to start. Just follow me and I'll keep you right. So we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. And by light intensity, what I mean is for the first minute, I just want you to put enough of a push from your feet as though you were just standing up from a squat. Let's say you just squatted down to pick something up off the floor. That's just the power. Because all you're working on in this first minute is pushing your feet at the same time your hands connect the handle to the machine. That point where you feel the handle bite into it, you feel the weight of the flywheel or the magnet or the water wheel, whatever you're using, engages. So you push at the same time. And then if you can rock forwards over your hips towards the front of the machine and keep your arms straight as you push your feet, you should feel the weight of the machine as you push those feet. And you'll feel it more if you push it a little bit harder now. So what we're looking to try and find is an intensity where your heart rate starts to increase and your breathing rate starts to increase, but crucially, it shouldn't feel hard. You should certainly be able to talk while you're rowing like this. Maybe not sing because you need more breath control when you're singing, but the intensity is going to feel like walking up a steep hill. Maybe you're going for a walk up the mountains, or if you're walking up an office block's worth of stairs, where it starts to become like exercise, but you don't need to lie down afterwards. We're going to take 2 more strokes, and then let's put 1 foot on the ground, bump, and continue rowing. So just rock forwards onto your toes, and then backwards onto your heel. Just pivot over that foot. So obviously have the foot on the ground. There's someone I was talking to a couple of months ago who said that they were trying to kind of float their leg in the air and they couldn't do this bit. And I'm like, yeah, it's because you don't have your foot on the ground. What are you doing? 1 more, and let's swap feet. Ugh, oh no, tried to be smart there, that didn't work. And then continue with the other leg. Don't worry if it takes you, like it did for me, a few seconds to do this change. A couple of strokes lost in this warm-up isn't gonna torpedo your session. If it takes you like 15 seconds, that's not as good, but okay, last one here. Put that foot back in, strap him up, legs straight, and row with your back and arms. So that means your back swing is what takes up the initial tension of the stroke. So you swing, then pull the arms. Swing, pull. And make sure to pull in with a nice pull. Couldn't think of another word there. But a nice amount of force. Then arms away, rock forwards again. Let's take one more here, and then we're going to roll into the front. Straight arms, forwards tilt, and push out from the front. So hold your arms straight and that tilt. Don't worry about power. The moment you start to really mash this drill, that's when you kind of tend to make it fall apart. All I want you to do is concentrate on the timing of the foot press and the hands connecting, but also keeping your arms straight and your forwards tilt. Let's take one more as we hit 4. Woof. There we go. Right, so have a quick drink, keep on moving up and down the rail, or do some light rowing while I quickly describe one more time what it is we're doing today. All right then, so today's session is going to be 12 3-minute intervals with 2 minutes rest between each. And you're going to do these 3-minute intervals at a higher stroke rate, probably around about 26, 28 than some of the other sessions. And that intensity is going to be up at like kind of 7, 8 out of 10. So possibly around about 10 seconds faster than you were rowing the second minute of that warm up, in case you want some kind of a pace guide that way, all right? But get a feel for it. You want to really get to a point where you're like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not enjoying this, but then you'll be facing into the rest and you go, oh, that's okay, then you do it again, and then you go, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not enjoying this, and then you do it again 12 times, okay? I'll talk to you all about this stuff in the main row, but there's no point me talking to you about it now because we've got quite a lot of time ahead together. So if you are ready, you've got water close by, all that stuff, then we're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. So it might take the majority of this first interval for you to settle into a stroke rate and pace that matches the pace guide that I gave you, unless you've been following the 0 to Hero series and you've been through this kind of workout 2 times already, because we've done it as 8 times 3 minutes, and we've done it as 10 times 3 minutes. So with any luck, you can remember the pace that you were rowing at the last time, and really that's likely to be the pace you row today's at too, because this session isn't necessarily about making you go faster in these intervals. It's about continuing your fitness and your ability to hold intensity. And by adding on 2 more intervals, but not increasing the rest time, that will be enough of a push for you, so you can return to the pace that you did this before, is all I'm saying. Now I did my warm-up at 1:57 pace in that second minute, and I'm 1:45 pace right now. So that's the jump that I've made. However, remember, if you are rowing on a Concept 2, then the difference in pace increases between concept 2 and Avalon is about 5 seconds, I think. Anyway, 2 more strokes, 1 more, and that's our first interval done. Always seems to be a bunch of housekeeping involved in the first intervals here. So you'll notice that I am moving, but not particularly with any thought to how I'm moving. Not really thinking technique or anything here. I'm just moving. So point here being, well, if you've done the session, you know what the point is. There's 2 of them. Number 1, if I stop, then the timer on the monitor stops, and that completely throws me off when it comes to trying to tell you when to stop and start. But the other one is just keeping the muscles moving, pumping some blood around them. And it's interesting, you know, for years, and I mean 10 years, or say 9.5 years, I would have sworn blind that you're best to completely stop, still, breathe, recover, make sure that every ounce of energy that is available in your body goes into the workout intervals and you're not wasting any through these recovery periods. But in this 0 to Hero series, I have been doing this active recovery, and you know what? The past 9.5 years, I'm talking rubbish. As long as you're not rowing, like this is just fine, moving up and down, then this is perfectly adequate as a recovery as well. Okay, so in 2 more strokes, I'm gonna take a little hoppy one here. We're gonna get back into it. You ready? Let's go. So straight back up to the pace and stroke rate that you were rowing at before. So I seem to be hovering between 27 and 28. Well, I just dropped down to 26. And I want to aim for 1:45 again. And this is what we're doing 12 times. And what should happen is that the first, say, 3-4 intervals shouldn't really feel that tough. Maybe as you're closing in on the end of each one, by the last 15-20 seconds might suddenly feel hard, but first few intervals should feel manageable. But then as the workout continues, that point when you really kind of have to hold on and concentrate to hold your pace, that point will gradually happen sooner and sooner. And well, the caveat there is that if it gets really hard too quick and you can't make it to the end of the interval, you're going too fast. But if you don't think by, say, interval 4 or 5 that you're reaching an intensity where it suddenly becomes something that you have to concentrate on the push and keeping the effort in, then chances are you're not putting in enough. So you always have to self-govern, self-analyze what you're doing, because you have good days, bad days. Maybe today is a good day and you can actually squeeze a couple more seconds pace. Okay, one more, and we'll stop for 2 minutes. Now, if you're light rowing like me, remember you can just single arm row. If you want to keep moving and have a drink. And I've said it before, that's a handy, if ever you're doing, well, any kind of row where you're like, I really need a drink mid-row, then rather than stopping, as long as your water bottle's in reach, just try rowing with the one arm so that you're still, the machine's still moving. You might be rowing like 20, 30 seconds slower, although probably it'll be about 15 seconds slower if you're still putting in a push and things. Not that much more. And for the sake of 5 or 6 seconds for a quick drink, you'll maybe have lost a second or two in your pace, but nowhere near as much as if you'd actually stopped and then had a drink. So if you're doing a half hour, 10K, 60, half marathon or a marathon, then single arm rowing is a great way to still have a drink. Although for a marathon, it gets trickier because you really need to get on top of your hydration and nutrition to make sure you don't bonk when you completely run out of energy and you're totally dehydrated. That's not a good place to be. Okay, 3 more strokes and we'll get into interval number 3. You ready? Here we go. So, back we go. Now I've done the schoolboy, or made the schoolboy error today, where I'm actually doing this as my evening session because I knew I couldn't fit it in over my lunch break. But over lunch, I hit the weights room, and today was a pull session. So single arm rows, pull-ups, and bicep work. And so what that means is my forearms are really quite tired. I can already feel that kind of solid feeling to my right forearm. So I guess that means I put the effort in while I was doing my weights, but I hope it doesn't mean I have to back off the rowing. This is why I normally do it the other way around. The row is usually the most important part of my day, as well, this is what I focus on, and then resistance training is something I do to supplement the rowing, but it's kind of number 2 importance, especially as being most of the weights I do are just about toning up the rest of my body, because after all, there are some muscles that don't get used anywhere near as much when you're rowing, like your arms pushing hardly gets activated. So it is worthwhile at least doing push-ups alongside your rowing workout. So when you're done, maybe crack out 3 sets of 15 push-ups. Whew. Okay, 2 more. And we rest. Whew. Yeah, I mean, I do it split up. I know this is a rowing workout, but I'll talk about rowing soon. But I do it as a day one when I'm doing weights is a push set, so it's all bench presses and tricep pull downs and things. It's all about pushing and triceps really. Day 2 is about kind of front of legs, the pushing, like quads, leg extensions, squats, calves. I know they're not the front of the leg. Day 3 is then the pull set. Like I say, biceps, lat pull downs, face pulls, such fun. And then the 4th day is hamstrings, back and shoulders. So deadlifts, hamstring curls, shoulder presses, lateral raises. And I find that kind of covers, along with like rowing and running and cycling and the high rocks training, that pretty much covers what I need to do. I mean, I don't need to focus in on like that forearm muscle or anything. I'm not a bodybuilder, but I just want to make sure I have all over body strength for other stuff and not just for rowing, which did happen for a while. It's worse when I was just a cyclist, where really I had really good fast fit legs, but the rest of me was useless. 2 more strokes. 1 more stroke. And here we go into interval 4. So once we get through this one, we are a third of the way done. My heart rate is still recovering nicely, nice and low in these 2-minute recoveries. I'll try and tell you what the range is between stopping the next one or stopping this one and starting the next one. Like I said before, never worry about any of the numbers I give out. The only one really you ever need to match is stroke rate. So, and then all you have to do is follow me on screen for stroke rate. But pace is all totally individual. And this is why the RowAlong workouts are always time-based and not distance-based. Because then it doesn't matter whether when I'm rowing 1:45, whether you are rowing 1:30 pace or 2-minute pace, 3 minutes is 3 minutes for both of us. And heart rate too, I have quite a fit heart when it comes to like my resting heart rate when I wake up in the morning is usually 36, 37. And even when I'm like at work at my desk, it's low 40s. So my heart has quite a long way to go to recover to normal or resting. So just keep an eye on your own heart rate if you have a monitor on, and make sure that it's telling you that you're working hard enough and also that you are keeping an eye on recovery. Okay, 2 more, 1 more. So that was the end of the 4th one, and my heart rate climbed to 135, which is just kind of the middle of zone 3, I guess, or maybe just the start of zone 3 heart rate. I'm gonna have a drink. And then we'll see what it recovers down to over the course of these 2 minutes. Caught myself just then holding the middle of the handle still, which, as much as I'm saying don't worry about technique here, at the same time, if you can find the same range of motion as your rowing stroke, then do. So holding it in the middle is nothing like my rowing stroke, whereas holding it wide is closer. Well, it is where I hold it in the rowing stroke, so it means that my muscles are pulling in the same kind of plane that they will when I'm actually rowing, so that's better for them. Right, tell you what, we're coming up to interval 5, and apart from the warm-up, I haven't really done a technique chat, have I? And I know you're probably sitting there going, hey, this is amazing, we're almost 20 minutes in and he hasn't wanged on about technique yet. Sorry, we're about to maybe spend the next couple of intervals talking about it, just because we're coming into the halfway point. Okay, 3 strokes to go. My heart rate is down at 79, in case you're keeping count. 1 more. And interval 5. Now, there's, you know what, I could have quite often say, remember the most important part of the stroke is, truthfully, everything's important. But if you wanted to focus on 3 things, it would be to push with the legs, to keep the arms straight at the front and only pull at the back, and to rock forwards over your hips as you come in, or before you come in to the front of the stroke. You hold it and then you only swing your back when you're about halfway through your stroke. Because really, if you can get those 3 elements of the stroke right, everything else kind of has to fall into place technique-wise to be able to do it. So, talk about hanging off the handle at the stroke to put the power in. But you can only hang off the handle if you push with your legs, with straight arms and a forward tilt. And importantly, that you hold your straight arms and your forward tilt as you push, so you don't pull too soon and you don't swing your body too soon. So you should feel, if you're pushing properly, almost as though your backside gets lighter on the seat, and that's because of just the chain of power from your feet to your hands but you don't want your backside to fly off the seat because it really hurts when you land on the rail. One more. Whew. Same heart rate. Finish. So, intensity wise, I'm guessing I'm around about 7.5 out of 10. So I'm definitely breathing harder. Heart rate was still 135, but sometimes the numbers kind of don't tell all the story. So I'm definitely, certainly because I'm talking to you the whole time, finding it harder to catch a breath. You can tell by my speech pattern that I'm starting to take breaths in between sentences rather than it being like a natural pause at the end of a sentence. So the intensity is climbing. Next interval is going to be our halfway point. And so, I mean, this is what I'd expect, having been through this Zero to Hero plan. I know that the way the body responds to the fitness increases and things means that this is what's meant to happen, is that I've not hit that kind of falling off a cliff in terms of heart rate climbing, that I'm still working within what my body can manage, even though the intensity might, like the perceived intensity might be rising. My body's still like, don't worry man, we've got this. I can look after you. But pretty soon, body will start to go, oh, hang on a minute, I'm gonna have to start heart rate higher here to get more oxygen transported around your body. Okay, 2 more strokes. Let's take 1 more stroke. And here we go, into interval 6. So get that push right from the front. Always try and use these rests as a way to like reset your technique. Maybe you are fatiguing a little bit before me here, and that's perfectly fine. I just talk from my experience because that's all I have. And I actually think that that's the most important way to try and get this stuff across to you, is to kind of tell you what I'm going through. Like everything I do is based on my experience as a rower, my experience coaching people, my experience on training plans, which I then pass on to you. So it's not just based on data. Not to say there's anything wrong with a plan or a session that's based on data, but it can be pretty unforgiving if you just head to a website, download a plan that says row these intervals at this intensity, and there's no real kind of helping hand through the session. Whereas I really do hope that you have found value in seeing me row the sessions at exactly the same intensity that I'm asking you to row them at. Because what it means is I can catch when breathing gets harder, or when I notice my technique suffering because my legs are starting to tire. And hopefully, if you've been keeping to the same intensities through this plan, you're hitting the same moments that I am. 2 more, 1 more. There we go. All right, so as I guessed, 140 heart rate that time. So after it was like 125, 130, 130, 130, 130, or 135, sorry, for the last two. That time, it climbed to 140. So that shows to me that my body is now having to kind of dip into something else in order to fuel me, to power me through this. And maybe I've kind of passed anaerobic threshold now. I'm not on the threshold. I'm kind of dipping into that, where my heart is now needing to work harder to be able to keep up that pace. Because I mean, 130, 135 heart rate, to be rowing at 145 pace on an Aberon at resistance 12, for me, is exactly what I'd expect. And so as this workout progresses, then it's almost gratifying to see the increase in my heart rate, because it knows I'm putting in the right intensity. Because remember, that's us just halfway through, and my body's now like, right, I need to work harder. So it means that the next 6 intervals, chances are I'm going to have to mentally work harder, physically work harder as well, in order to complete them. And that's the point of this session, is this isn't meant to be a walk in the park. I only spent 1 interval talking technique. I'm going to come back to it, but I want to talk about that mental thing for this one, just because it just popped into my head. 2 more strokes. 1 more stroke. Here we go then. Interval 7. Right. So I've said it various times through this series when we've done these tempo rows, but just because we are now getting to this point in the row where it will at one point start to get uncomfortable, and you will start to think, especially at this stage, I'm only halfway there. Still got 6 more to go. And if you're already feeling tired and fatigued, your brain starts to tell you whoppers, starts to lie to you, tell you that you can't get through this. And that's very much the point of this session. The long, slow rows, they're about building your base fitness so that you can row any session that you want up to the point of your fitness capacity. And then the max intensity, like Tabata, is all about teaching you to row fast to keep the intensity up, but for periods of time that you're working so hard and fast that you don't really have a chance to think about the intensity. Like your body actually does start to fade. It's not like it's your brain telling you it. Like in a Tabata, 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 by the end of the 3rd one, you should be hanging on by a thread. Whereas this row is really just about suffering, holding a tough intensity and pushing through, which is what you need when rowing time trials is a stronger mind. 2 more. 1 more. There we go. Number 7, done. 140 heart rate again, so it's like a step. Maybe I climbed a step to get to the 140s. Maybe the next one will be slightly higher. I mean, it just dawned on me. I kind of have to always talk to make these intervals valuable. Because if I just kept my mouth closed and rode at this pace, I'm sure my body wouldn't be working quite as hard because of just the lack of oxygen that's coming in because I'm talking for half a stroke. So less talking, more drinking, single arm rowing. Ah, yeah. Right, 1 minute to go. That was number 7. So we've got 5 left. This is flying by. What were you coming up for 35 minutes? It's the other thing. I mean, if you look at how well your body will be working right now, 3 minutes on, 2 minutes off, because you're then able to recover enough to go hard on the next one, it means that you're working at a really high intensity and your body's just like, use up as many calories as you can. Throw everything at it. Got to try and get through this. And then you recover, then you go up. So this alongside those low intensity and the hip workout stuff like a Tabata, your body just doesn't know what to do. So it's a great way if you're trying to burn fat, just to keep your body guessing. 2 more strokes. 1 more stroke. And here we go with interval 8. So get that first stroke right up to pace. You should hear a whoosh or a splash or whatever your machine makes right on that first stroke. You shouldn't be taking like 30 seconds to find your pace and rate. Your body will do a great job of just remembering the last thing you asked of it. Which, to be honest, is another reason why previously I favoured a complete stop in the rest periods rather than like rowing, is to just make sure that your body just remembers this stroke rate and this pace, this push from the legs. Because remember, that's what it's about, the push of the legs. That's what controls the power. You push, then you swing your back, and you finish with pulling your arms. But that push controls the amount of force going through your back when you swing, and then because you are hanging off the handle and you're bracing against it, when the power from your legs and back die out, you just continue that force into the handle as you pull in to a finish. And that's why you don't pull from the front, because you lose that hang, that brace off the handle, less of a power from the legs, less power from the back and less power from your arms. One more stroke. Ooh. That one flew by. 143. Like I said, don't worry about my numbers. I'm just telling you what's happening with me, because I'm a narcissist. No. I mean, you have to think, is there a level of narcissism going on here? The fact that I have all these videos where I talk away about, fair enough, technique, motivation stuff, but I do talk about myself quite a lot, either it's how I'm experiencing a row or family and dinner plans and stuff. Is it self-centered to assume that you care about this stuff? But then maybe you don't. I've constantly maintained that most of the point of what I'm saying is just white noise, just to get you through a row. This combination of technique, motivation, and dad jokes. Because, I mean, like I say, it's 58 minutes we're spending together today in total, just in this main workout. And if I was just to smack you over the head with technique for 58 minutes, oh, I know I wouldn't come back. I'd be like, oh, come on, man, talk about something else. I know the early rows in the Zero to Hero series were quite technique heavy, but I had to take that from a point of view that quite a lot of people were coming from zero. So I really needed to focus on technique. But the longer the rows got, the more I could kind of spread that stuff out. 3 strokes to go. For me, 2, 1, more. And here we go then. Interval number 9. Look at that, we're getting close. Close to the end. Just this one and one more, and that's us matched what we have achieved before. And I said this in the 10 times 3 row, that like when I was at 8, like interval 8 on the 10 times 3, that's when I started to find it really hard. But I'm on number 9 now, and well, you can tell from my heart rate readout at the end of the last interval that I'm not at that point yet. I'm still, I figure, I'm firmly an 8 out of 10 right now, which means I'm working at an intensity where I'm looking forward to the rests, but I don't need to stop for them. I mean, I don't know if I would be able to row another, what was that, like 16 minutes without a rest. Well, that's including rest, isn't it? You get what I mean? But I'm definitely here on interval 9, nowhere near where I was at this point when we only did 10 of these intervals. So I hope you feel the same, because there's a real feeling of progression and success going on for me right now, because this doesn't feel as bad as last time. Okay, 20 seconds. I'm definitely getting to this point, and needing to focus on my breath. 2 more. 1 more. There we go. Number 9. Done. 143 again. Whew. And that's, in fact, drink first. Drink then talk. There's one thing that I don't often talk about at length, because there's not really much to say about it, but I could probably say a little bit more than I normally do. But breathing is exceptionally important when you're working out, that you breathe. Possibly I don't talk about it because I'm constantly talking, but what you want to find is a breath, like a rhythm of your breath, that works with your stroke. So whether that is coming into the front and breathing as you roll forwards, and then breathing out as you push, and then in, so it's like going which you can do at low rates, but the higher you get, the higher the rates you get, the more you kind of need to turn it into a 2 breath. So what do I tend to do? I tend to go so I breathe in at the drive and out as I pull the handle in to my chest, and then I take another breath coming forwards when I'm at higher rates. And there is an argument there that you're opening your chest as you breathe in. Anyway, 3 strokes to go. 2 strokes to go. And 1 strokes to go. You ready? Interval 10. Yeah, so I go. Hopefully you can hear that, but I am breathing, I'll speed up my rate a bit. I am breathing 2, like when I'm normally rowing. Obviously when I'm talking to you, I'm not doing that. But even when I take the breaths in between speech pattern, it is breathing in at the drive and out as I finish, which is kind of, you could almost say counterintuitive, because if you were doing a deadlift, as you pushed the power in, so because this position at the catch is very similar to a deadlift. So anyone who does weights will be used to an explosive breath as you push your legs into the ground. And so maybe you folks breathe out as you do the leg drive. But I'll let you on a secret. Well, it's not a secret. There was a university study done a while back where they analysed performance of the same rowers who did the same sessions, one time breathing in at the drive, another time breathing out at the drive, and the difference was negligible. It really made no difference at all. But what they did find was that finding a rhythm that worked in harmony with their stroke, that made a huge difference. Like just ragged breathing, almost close to hyperventilation, hindered rather than helped. So find your rhythm. One more stroke. Oh, well, I could possibly have fit another one in there. 1, 4, 6. So a slight climb, but I've not really been tracking my finish rate. I'll try and keep an eye on that. According to the chart, or the little blocks on the Aviron in front of me, that puts me into zone 4, which kind of zone 3 and 4 are much maligned. Most people will tell you to do zone 2 and zone 5, and that 3 and 4 is a kind of grey area, junk meters where you're not really developing anything. But I maintain, and I will, even though I change my mind on a few things when I experience them, that the value of zone 3 and 4, certainly like when you get to zone 4 in this kind of a row and it starts to really suck, but you push through and you continue, I think the value of that outweighs the kind of, because you still get performance gains from it. It's not like this is like useless rowing at this pace. It's just you get better fitness gains down at a low intensity and better speed gains up at high intensity. But the benefits, the mental benefits of holding this intensity for 3 minutes 12 times far outweighs the losses in performance or fitness when you compare it to a zone 2 or 5. There you go. That's my big sell for this. Okay, 3 strokes to go. Then we're going to hit interval 11. Here we go. You ready? Let's go. So we are now in uncharted territory as far as this format of session, the 3 minutes hard. So, be interesting to see. I mean, I certainly still feel that I've got these 2 intervals in me, but there is an element of just the fact that this is now into the 31st minute of rowing at this intensity, which is kind of just a little bit faster than I would do a 30-minute time trial at. And there is going to be 6 minutes more of it. And if you've ever done a 30-minute time trial at full whack, you'll know just how much that can take out of you. But before I started to really focus on proper training, varying the sessions and intensities, all I used to do was 30-minute time trials and 2,000 meter time trials. Like every night at 8 o'clock, there was a Gen Fit row on the RowPro software. And I used to just sign on and mash a 30-minute time trial, and then wonder why Monday, after a weekend off, I could easily break 8,000 meters, but then come Friday, I'd be lucky to break 7,800. That's just because I was working my body too hard. And that's why I started to learn about the right way to train. One more. Oh, last rest. Sorry, that evil look at the camera was because as I started it today, I had 1 hour 16 worth of recording space left on the card. And if you think the intro and stuff probably took up about 8 minutes by the time I do a couple of fluff takes and things. And then this is what I say, 58. So hopefully I'm within the maximum recording time. I might have to say goodbye quite quick. If I see the little, stop dropping your T's. Good grief, John. How many times have you said that? The little flashing red light on the front. If I see that starting to flash when I'm doing my outro, don't be surprised if I suddenly go, right, we're done, bye. Because as much as I've really enjoyed this row, I don't fancy having to do it again tomorrow to get it all done. I've still got another, what's this one number? Is this 32? 3, 4, or is this 33? This is 33, isn't it? Yeah, so I've still got more sessions to row, so don't have to do this one again. As fun as it is. It's worth coming back to though, whether you do it as a row along to the video or not. This is a great session, all of these 3-minute ones. And you can make, if you want to make it harder for yourself, just don't take 2 minutes rest. Take like 90 seconds or take a minute rest and it'll really increase the intensity. This is quite luxurious, it must be said. 2 more strokes. 1 more stroke. And here we go then with our final interval, number 12. Because remember, the point of this Zero to Hero series is to build you up, to get you ready for what's to come. This isn't a test session in itself. This is a combination of things. I mean, even the fact that you have spent, or you will have spent, 58 minutes in this workout in the saddle. Like sure, 24 of them, or 22 of them, sorry, were resting, but you were still here in the machine or on the machine for all this time. And if you were one of the people right at the beginning who could barely row 5 or 10 minutes, either physically or without getting bored and stopping, then think about how much you've come just from a duration point of view. But then start to reflect on your fitness gains, on your power gains, maybe even fat loss and body image. Have you started to find better eating habits in response to seeing the results of your consistent training? Have you picked up other modes of exercise? Maybe you're running, maybe you're lifting weights, because this series has unlocked otherwise untapped capabilities that you were unaware you could do. Okay, Keep pushing for the last 10 seconds. Whew. 3 strokes. Last one. Oh. 150. So right in zone 4 where it's meant to be for me. If it had hit zone 5, it would have tipped into that max intensity, and possibly when I talked about falling off a cliff, it would have been more of a plummet. So there we go. That's that session done. Hopefully you got the same workout response as me. I'm going to tighten up my technique now and just spend a minute rowing with a bit more control over my form, just to make sure that this is how my body remembers rowing. But it'll also, my shoulders and forearms, whether it's from the weights I did earlier on in the day or whether it's from today's row, but they're feeling a little bit worn. So I want to make sure and row with a good technique just for another 45 seconds, just to make sure that my body's nicely cooled down. Remember, I do have a separate cool down up here with a separate, or not separate, it's a separate cool down that then finishes with a variety of stretching that you can do. So do hunt that out. You should be able to find it. Search cool down or look under the warm up and cool down playlist and you'll see it. But do take time. Of course, like I said, you might want to drop and do 3 sets of 15 press ups as well, just to get some kind of pushing action in there. Right, one more stroke for me. Alarmingly, my heart rate is 0. I'm hoping that just means that the battery is gone on my heart rate monitor and it's not that I'm about to fall off the machine. You'll find out in a second. Let's see. No, it's definitely still beating. Good. There we go. So there's only a few more sessions left of the Zero to Hero series. So the next one after this one is going to be a nice low intensity one. Then we're going to go back to one more max intensity. Then we'll do another low and we're all done. And then you're ready for something else. Okay, so really, like I was saying, this has been building you up. It's like this has been a crescendo that will then end in whatever you're going to do next, okay? That this has just been the build-up to get you ready for whatever you're going to get propelled onto next. So do start thinking about that. What are you going to do? Are you going to just go into some long, slow rowing? You just maybe train for a half marathon or something? Or maybe you just want to start rowing at a better controlled intensity while you're watching Netflix on your monitor? Who knows? But hopefully this series has helped you with your technique and an idea of how you should be rowing in terms of intensity and technique and stuff, right? So this is really what I'm hoping for this series, and we can worry about the performance stuff later, right? Yeah, so there we go, all done. Usually I kind of come up with at one point something happens in my head and I think of a hashtag and I can go, oh yeah, that's what I could do. So what would we say? Oh, crescendo. Why don't we say crescendo? Fortunately, it's on screen, so you don't have to, if I can spell it right, that's how to spell it. But yeah, so crescendo. There's a great tune from, I don't know, 1997 called Crescendo, dance track. Huge in the clubs. Yeah, go into YouTube, search that out, and you go, ooh, if you're kind of my age-ish and you were into dance music, like EDM, I guess you call it, at the time, then yeah, it's great. Anyway. I'm going to go before that light starts flashing. Is that okay with you? So I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see you in another video, whether it's the continuing saga of the Zero to Hero series or any of the other ones that are here. I hope you enjoy them. Please do get in touch and let me know whether you are enjoying them or not. And remember, and use that hashtag crescendo if you're going to post on any of your socials. So until the next video, please look after yourselves. Take care, row well, be well. Bye-bye.